Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jack. Back again to bring you Mythic Antoran High Command. My thoughts, my perspective, and just a quick rundown of everything you need to know about getting it down as a healer on Mythic. Alright, starting off, you will still be having the standard mechanics of jumping into the pod, being able to blow up the bosses, with your regular damage mechanic, having the increased damage out on that target. You will actually have an extra button where you'll be able to blow up some of the, I believe, the strikes, which basically would be the fell bats that are going to be flying into the fight. You'll have another key as you jump into the pod. You'll be able to kill the strikes, but generally they really aren't that much of a hassle to deal with, and it's just more AoE for a very AoE heavy fight. One thing that we are doing here is we are making sure that we are popping the mines fairly frequently, usually just kind of rotating between having about 2 stacks here and there, then popping 2 more, then popping 2 more, something along those lines, unless we had like a raid cooldown that we really wanted to get out early. As you're seeing here, I did try to take advantage of because we had 4 or 5 stacks that were going off all at once. You will have these the stuns from the shock grenades going out fairly frequently. This is actually a very annoying detail of the fight where multiple targets are going to be marked, and basically when the effect expires, they will take about half their health and damage, and they'll be stunned for a couple seconds. This just serves to kind of debilitate players, just to kind of stop whatever that it is that they're doing, and it can be kind of annoying, but it also really stresses the importance of making sure people are topped off very rapidly, because it's very easy, like you're seeing right here, to get stunned in the middle of one of the Demon's Blade Storms. And while the damage is not very high there, you have to make sure healers are ready to kind of jump on you and be able to get you topped off very rapidly. Now, going into the pods, we had our healers. We just had a healer order jumping into the pods every single time. So you're seeing it's very, very important to be able to get people into the pods very rapidly. As you're seeing on our engineer here, we're actually having somebody going very, very late into the pods. So it becomes a very scary position where we're having a fusillade and we're not actually having any of our fell shields up. So that's why we had a Spirit Link totem. I call it for Spirit Link. We got a Spirit Link out. I popped Velens, and we really just started focusing on getting people topped off. We had a bunch of people who were kind of rotating in and out of that, so then it was my turn to jump in. And of course, I'm using my 1 key to start dealing more damage to the boss and applying the debuff to him. I also have my 2 key, which is going to be putting down the fell shields. Usually right here, you want to make sure that you have 3 fell shields on the engineer side, and then you're seeing on the top of your screen, the orange side is going to be where we're going next. So I'm trying to drop as many of the shields as I can over there as well. So generally, the more that you can space them out, the better that they're easier to see. What we had is we had somebody who was already in the first pod, the Admiral's pods, so they're not able to go in again. We had that person be the focus for clicking the fell shields every single time. So we said, all right, you're the only one going to be clicking on the fell shields. That way we're not going to waste any of them, and that way we'll always have something available. We always know that this person is going to be in charge of getting them down. We wanted to make sure that we kind of portioned out our cooldowns such that we would always have this kind of damage reduction to work off of, because the fusillade by itself is not going to wipe you, but that, in addition to the occasional mines popping, the occasional mines blowing up, the blade storms that can happen in melee and just start affecting everybody, all the damage can kind of stack up and get higher and higher and higher, and really just kind of ruin your day. And that was one of the biggest things on this fight, is just a number of very simple mistakes can kind of compound on top of themselves and make life a lot harder for the entire group. And this fight is more of an endurance test than the first 2 fights that we've seen thus far. So it's very, very important to make sure that everyone has kind of a game plan as a healer of where you're going in with this. Like I said, you will spend 7 to 9 minutes, give or take, going through this boss. The damage at first is not very steady, but as you're getting better and better at just clearing mines in smaller portions, it really does start showing as being more and more steady damage that you need to be making sure that you have, healer rotations going out. It actually doesn't hurt, in my opinion, to be using healer CDs very early on if you want to pop a bunch of mines. Because oftentimes it'll be better to pop all your mines and use a resource like a hymn or a trank or something like that has a 3-minute cooldown, and you're not really going to be able to take advantage of it multiple times every single time on cooldown. So if you're waiting 2.5 minutes to be able to use your cooldown to begin with, you might as well just use it on the pull, clearing out mines, saving healer resources like mana, and then you're able to use it later on, just slightly delayed. So that was one thing that we kind of took advantage of, and that's one thing you can kind of look at depending on how many healers that you're bringing. So of course you're seeing that we brought 5 healers here, so everyone's got a 3-minute cooldown that they're able to take advantage of, and it's very hard to be splitting that up and having that kind of perfectly portioned out. So you might end up just having healers holding on to their cooldowns for over 3 minutes, unless you're going to be using them very early on off the pull. Now we've made our full rotation. We're going back to Admiral at this point. What you're seeing here is, again, dealing with the same mechanics. We're having one of our druids who's going out there popping 2 of the mines at a time, and we're able to just keep on portioning out our raid cooldowns when we need to. And this is the big part of the fight, is that you have to make sure that you have these steady resources available to you. The nice thing that we had with Shamans is we did take advantage of Ankh Totem. We did take advantage of the Shamans just Ankh. So if they needed to be able to stay in there for a very long period of time, and we wanted to be able to have them go in multiple times, because of course when you go into the pod, you would get the Psychic Assault where you can't go back in for a certain period of time. But if you die, well, that effect gets removed. So always kind of keep that in mind as a potential option. It was kind of a cheesy option, but it was nice that we were able to kind of take advantage of that. It'd be interesting to see if you could take advantage of the Legendary Cloak. I didn't get a chance to try it because we basically already had a pretty good order worked out when we went into Mythic, but it might be an option to see if it'll allow you to drop your debuff and then be able to go back in. That way you're able to spend less and less time of your DPSer's time going into these pods. It's very, very nice being able to have your healers going into it and dealing with all of the pod mechanics and stuff like that, because there's lots of ads that are going out. There's lots of damage that needs to be put onto these ads very rapidly. You still have to be getting rid of the Pyromancers, for example, and they can really, really just start destroying your raid if you're not careful. So you're seeing, again, back to the Engineer. I'm going to be clicking the Fell Shield right here. Everyone's getting in. I'm popping Velens. I'm getting all my healing out as fast as I can, and the damage does get extremely high when I'm getting a charge on us as we're stacking up in a few slot. And that was the big thing that caused me to die in this, is that when you have all that kind of stacking damage, all those big mechanics that can happening, as well as I believe the Fell Shield going up a little bit too early, you can really just start killing multiple people. So it wasn't too bad in this situation because we had, you know, basically the end of the fight. Our healer mana overall was not too bad, and we had about 5 or 6%. But it definitely is going to be an endurance fight. You definitely have to watch out, for example, for the Fell Shields. The room will go completely dark. Then they're going to hear the call for, oh, you know, cannons away, or it's the fire away, I believe is the call. And then that's where you click the Fell Shield. That's going to be your kind of proc, is to listen to the in-game sounds as they're calling for the shots to be fired at your group. And then you pop the Fell Shield to make sure everyone stays up. With 5 healers, I think it was an appropriate amount for progression, just because it can be so easy to lose healers and have them drop off here and there. Although the healing itself with 5 healers was not over the top, was not insane. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope you all found this helpful for getting Mythic Antoran High Command down. And again, it's an endurance fight, so strap in, get ready for a couple big pulls. Hope you all found this helpful. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you all tomorrow.